Well, the Knicks, I mean, you got to watch every minute of these Knicks games. You cannot leave early. No lead is safe. This season's circling the drain midway through second quarter tonight, down 0-2, down 20 points to the Indiana Pacers on the road. No life in the team. Just a terrible start. Brunson in early foul trouble. Exactly what they didn't need. And somehow, some way, at the end of the game, they have a 6-point victory. And obviously, Karl-Anthony Towns is the main reason who just took the game over in the fourth quarter. He scored as many points himself as the Pacers scored in the entire fourth quarter, scoring 20 points. But I am shocked, still shocked, that the Knicks won this game because this game was over. The Knicks were getting run out of the gym. The place was going bonkers. The Knicks were up. Knicks were down 20 points. They came out in this game, and Thibodeau tried to shake things up, sit Josh Hart, put in Robinson, and it didn't work early, right? Because the Knicks, from about midway through that first quarter until midway third quarter, were just dead. Now, they had a little run at the end of the first half that got it to 10, and that was important. It ended up being important. And when they came out in the third quarter, they played okay. But then, again, they couldn't get it under 10 points. And it kept ballooning up to 15, 13, and then it was 16 at one point after the Pacers went on a 6-0 run. And that's when the Knicks kind of turned it around. 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The Knicks get it down to 10, and then it's just the Karl-Anthony Towns show, and he takes over and scores 20 points in the final 12 minutes of this game to lift the Knicks back into the series. Because now we have a series. The season was dead and buried in the mid-second quarter, and now the Knicks have all the momentum. They have cut the lead to 2-1. A road team has won every game in this series. The Knicks are 6-1 on the road in the playoffs this year. They can't win at the Garden. And this was almost like a carbon copy of game one, where the Pacers had one guy take over. Now, that was only in a 3-minute span. The Knicks did this comeback, over the course of I guess it would be 2 quarters, but it was really in the 12 minutes. And Brunson, who did not have a good game, again sitting on the bench for much of that second half, at least much of the fourth quarter. But when he came back out, not having a good game, Brunson hit a big shot to give him a lead, and then he hit the 2 clutch free throws at the very end of the game that really sealed the deal and gave the Knicks a 5-point lead, and they ended up winning by 6. Also, give credit to Josh Hart. He was benched to start the game. He came in. He's not going to be much on the stat sheet, but he came in and he had that one rebound, that monster rebound, where he went up. And I said, rebounding is all effort. It's mostly effort. And he went up and he wanted it more than anybody else in that court. And he pulled that thing down and he slammed into the ground. And that secured the game for the Knicks. Just a gutsy performance. Thibodeau went rogue tonight. Played 9 guys. You had Landry Shamet and who was it? Landry Shamet and DeLon Wright. DeLon Wright, I had to look him up. I didn't even know he was on the Knicks. But DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet get minutes. Shamet played 13 minutes. That's significant minutes in a game where your season's on the line. They haven't played in months. Especially DeLon Wright. DeLon Wright hasn't played in months. And they came out. DeLon Wright had a big steal. Shamet scored 2 points. This was as weird a game as you could get. Because, like I said, midway through the second quarter, it was over. Knicks were getting blown out. Crowd was going crazy. The Knicks looked like they were dead. And then they just kind of came to life in the second half. And Karl-Anthony Towns in the fourth quarter with a brilliant fourth quarter. And this was his moment. This was the night he became a Knick. This was his signature moment as a New York Knicks. Since the trade, since coming over, he took it over. Brunson was on the bench. He took the game over himself. He had big threes. He had monster dunks. And listen, Brunson getting into foul trouble, that's an issue. And I don't know what it is, but for some reason, both games, now that Brunson was on the bench in the fourth quarter for significant minutes, the Knicks have just played well, and they seem to gel together as a team when he's not in there. I'm not saying, sit Brunson or anything like that, but they seem to be more cohesive, to play more as a team, and it gave Towns the ability to step up and make big shots. He had a big three to put them up 4 points. Late in that fourth quarter, he hit monster dunks. He played good defense, and the Knicks are now back in this series, and they have all the momentum. You knew the Knicks were going to come out, and they would probably win one game. But when you watch that first half, it was like, it's like they mailed it in. They mailed it in the first half, and you couldn't believe it. This whole run that they've had, and it was going to come down to they lose the first two at home, and then they get run out of the gym in Indiana, down 0-3, and it was just going to end on Tuesday night. But give them credit. They'd never say die. They came back, and they just turned it on. It's like they flipped a switch. Indiana scored only 42 points in that second half, though. Now, is that credit to the Knicks defense? I think it's both credit to the Knicks defense, and it's also bad shooting by the Pacers in that second half. The stats are basically even if you look at the stats, but the Knicks coming back and just Karl-Anthony Towns having his best game of his career, probably. Definitely, without certain, the best game in the Knicks uniform. Like I said, tonight's the night that Karl-Anthony Towns became a Knick. As far as Brunson goes, listen, Brunson, no, he knows. I saw him in the interview after the game. He said his first thing he said was, I got to stop fouling. I don't know how they're going to get him to stop fouling because these teams are targeting Brunson, going after him when he's on defense. He's fouling. He's getting into big foul trouble. He had 5 fouls midway through the third quarter. He had to come out. Now, when he was in there, he wasn't great tonight. He hit a big three, and he hit the 2 big free throws late on that to put him up 5 and basically seal the deal. But Brunson did not have a good game. You can't be getting into foul trouble like that. 3 fouls in the first half. Towns was another one. Towns was in foul trouble too. Somehow he was able to play through it, keep it at 3-4 fouls. He had that one where the foul was called on the Pacers, then it was reviewed and overturned. And it ended up being a foul on Karl-Anthony Towns. And it was his 3rd foul. It was the first half. The Knicks were getting slaughtered on the scoreboard. Towns was in foul trouble. Brunson was in foul trouble. Hart was barely on the floor. Robinson played okay, but you need Josh Hart. Josh Hart's like the engine of this team. And the rebound that he came down with late in that game that sealed it was as good a rebound as you will ever see. And the Knicks just fight back and fight back and fight back. And right when you're ready to kick him to the curb and pronounce him dead, they somehow managed to come back and get another win. I mean, 3 times now in these playoffs, in the last 2 series, the Knicks have trailed by 20 or more points and come back to win the game. I said with Brett earlier before the game that no lead is safe in the playoffs. No lead anywhere. It's probably why you saw Minnesota piling it on 2 days ago or yesterday on OKC when they're up 40. Because they've seen these playoffs. It's happened. And no lead is safe in the game, in the individual game, and no lead is safe in these series either. So now the Knicks, they're not completely back, right? They got to win game 4. You got to get this thing back to the Garden, 2-2, start over. Because if they go down 3-1, you're back and you're in big trouble again. If they go down 3-1, I think they will lose in 6. If they could get game 4, and tie this thing at 2 going back to the Garden, then we start anew, and you throw everything out the window, and you just play best of 3. And that's what the Knicks got to get to. They got to somehow stop these slow starts. Stop falling 20 points behind these teams. It's like the Knicks don't play hard unless they're down 20 points. And eventually, you're not going to come back all the time. I know that they have so far, but this is rarefied air stuff. I mean, this doesn't happen. Knicks were down 15 in the third quarter. Now they've also, you could make the point that the Knicks were the better team in all 3 games so far in the series. They clearly should have won game 1. They clearly should have won. I think they probably should have won game 2. And then this one, you know what? The Pacers were probably the better team in this one. So you could say 2 out of 3, it should be Knicks up 2-1. But it's not. That's not how it works. But they gotta get this thing back 2-2. And I think then you're in good shape. It's just a best of 3 series. Because if they lose, they have all the momentum. If you don't come out with a hot start and they come out flat again like they have in God knows how many playoff games this season, then the momentum's going to shift real quick. The crowd's going to get into it. Because now you got Indiana's nervous now. We scored 42 points in the half. Karl-Anthony Towns has now found it. He's unstoppable. They're winning when Brunson is playing bad. Brunson's playing on the bench. You know, it's the same feelings that the Knicks had and the Knicks fans had when the Celtics won game 3. It was like, okay, no, maybe we aren't as good. Maybe the Knicks had to win game 3. Listen, this is going to be a long series. I think it's going 6 or 7. I said that the whole way. I stick by it. I stick by Knicks in 7. Now, but also history is not on their side. There's only 6 times it's been done where a team has dropped the first 2 games and won the series. And it's never happened when the team who's dropped the first 2 games dropped the first 2 at home. So you're fighting history. You're fighting an uphill battle this whole series. But once you get it even and you make it a best of 3 series, then, hey, you know what? You got a shot. And they gave themselves that shot tonight to get it to 2-2 in game 4. And Thibs went rogue tonight. Playing 9 deep. Landry Shamet, DeLon Wright in the game together in a playoff game, a game 3, a must win. I mean, where did that come from? It's wild what he's doing. Like, where is this coming from? He plays the Knicks. Listen, this is how ridiculous it is. DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet didn't get into game 6 against the Celtics when the Knicks were up 40 points. They're in a 10-point game in the third quarter. There is DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet on the floor together for about 10 minutes. Like, where does this come from? It's wacky. It's wild. And the fact that they were also able to do it without Brunson now for the second time in this series, the Knicks played real well with Brunson on the bench in foul trouble. And that's an excellent sign. An excellent sign. And Mikal Bridges had a big game. He put 15 together, 15 points, big 15 points. The Knicks defense was locked down in the second half. It played well. Poor shooting by the Pacers. Listen, when you're down 20, you're going to need a little help from the other team to get back in the game. And if you're going to overcome a 20-point deficit at any point in an NBA game. But to do it 3 times in the last 7 games is crazy. So, Knicks get a win tonight. Got to follow it up, though. You can't come out flat. Knicks keep coming out and just, they're terrible. They were terrible in the first half. They came out with 0 energy, with 0 desperation in a game that they had to win. And they looked up and it was down 20. The Pacers were running on them. They were dunking. They were fast breaks where the ball never hit the ground and to an alley-oop. Not a nick in sight. Brunson in foul trouble. Towns in foul trouble. And they were able to dig out of it, get it back, somehow get it back, and win this game. 106-100. The Knicks win game 3, a wild game. There's a million things you could talk about with this game, but the number one story is Karl-Anthony Towns. 20 of his 24 points in the fourth quarter. He just took the game over, hit big threes, monster dunks, was unbelievable, and he's the reason why the Knicks are back in this series, and it's 2-1. And hey, we said they're going to have to win 4 out of 5, and it's not easy to win 4 out of 5. But they took a step towards that tonight, one step at a time. They got to get this thing even, though. I think that it's, again, a must-win in Game 4 for the Knicks. They can't go down 3-1. They got to. And when they get back to the Garden, they got to win. You can't. The Knicks have always been good on the road in the playoffs, but you can't be losing games at Madison Square Garden if you're the Knicks. And they haven't been good at all on their home floor. It's almost like it's all too much for them when they get on the Garden. To get on the road, to get away from everything, all the noise, but you can't even say that because they came out and they played flat tonight. They're a very odd team. It's a very odd team. And these playoffs have been crazy. Not only this series, but the whole NBA playoffs have been just wacky things going on. But tonight it fell the Knicks' way after they blew game one, could have won game two, missed a couple rebounds, and it came down tonight. Josh Hart grabbed a monster rebound. Brunson hit a couple big free throws. Brunson hit a big three. And Karl-Anthony Towns with 20 points in the fourth quarter. He matched the amount of points that the Pacers scored in the fourth quarter. So I don't even know what to say. You can't predict these games. Pacers had a monster fourth quarter in game one. Knicks have a monster fourth quarter in game three. The only thing that seems to be steady and predictable is that the Knicks are going to start slow, and they don't win unless they're 15 to 20 points behind. And that's not a way you want to play because eventually your luck's going to run out. But, maybe it doesn't. Who knows? Because I've been saying that now for 2 series, and they keep coming back from 20 points down. So a big, big win for the Knicks tonight. They take game 3. They get back in the series down 2-1. They got to get this even to 2-2, get it back to the Garden, and you got to play well at home. I don't know if they could do that. We're now 3 games into the series. Not a single one has been won by a home team, but we'll see. The Knicks can keep this trend going, get it 2-2. You have a best-of-3 series, and then you never know. You're back in it if you get it, but right now, for now, it's not over, right? They lose tonight. If they lost tonight and they lost this game, over. Probably get swept. But they didn't. They were able to win. A big comeback. The night that Karl-Anthony Towns became a New York Knick, this was his moment. This was his game. And let's see if this was the guy that they traded for. And let's see if he could carry it over and now get real hot and carry this team, along with Brunson, if he ever stays out of foul trouble. Brunson's got to figure that out because it's going to kill him. It's going to kill this team. You can't be you don't want to play Landry Shamet, DeLon Wright in the playoffs. But the guys that they did trade for, Karl-Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, big games tonight. Brunson, they were able to do it again without Brunson. Came on at the end, had a couple big moments, but the night belongs to Karl-Anthony Towns, and the Knicks have made it a series 2-1. They trail. Next game, game 4, Tuesday night in Indiana, TNT, 8 o'clock. We'll see if they can get it going. So the Knicks win game 3, 106-100. Thought it was over, but they somehow, the never say die Knicks, do it again. Come back for the 3rd time in these playoffs from down 20-plus points. That's going to do it for us. Don't forget, rate, review, and subscribe. Every little bit helps. You can find us on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts. Our website, lockedupsports.net, lockedupsports.net. We have live feeds going, so you can catch us anywhere. That does it for me. From the Brian Gunzel Studios, I'm Bob Walters. Knicks win, game 4, Tuesday night. See ya.